In December 1973, an intelligence report moved quietly through the Central Intelligence Agency. 2 typed pages, marked confidential. Its subject was a remote Soviet weapons range, and an account of something seen in the sky above it. It would stay classified for more than 50 years. The place was Sary Shagan, a missile testing range on the open steppe of Soviet Kazakhstan. Hundreds of miles of flat, dry grassland, chosen for its isolation. The kind of site the Soviet Union built to keep its weapons work far from view. The report never names the witness. It describes him only as a former Soviet citizen who had been near the range. On the evening in question, he was doing something entirely ordinary. He was watching a televised sports match between Canada and the Soviet Union. At some point, he stepped outside for air. It was, as far as the file is concerned, the last ordinary moment of his evening. Looking up toward the west, well above the horizon, he saw it. A sharp, bright, green circular object, or mass, hanging in the clear night sky. He could not judge its size, or its distance. There were no clouds, and he was certain it sat higher than any cloud would. Just a vivid green disk, holding still, about 70 degrees above the western horizon. For a few seconds, that was all it was. A single green circle against the dark. No movement. No sound. Just a shape, where no shape should be. It is worth being honest about what this is. A single account, from a single source. No second named witness. No photograph. No instrument reading. That does not make it untrue, but it sets the limits of what it can prove. Then it changed. Within 10 to 15 seconds, the circle widened, and around it, several green concentric rings formed, one inside the next, like ripples frozen in the air. There was no sound. No explosion, no aircraft, no chase across the sky. And within minutes, the color simply faded, until the sky was empty again. Every part of that, the widening circle, the green rings, the silence, the way it disappeared, comes directly from one paragraph of the report. Nothing, in this retelling, goes beyond what the witness described. And there is a great deal the report does not give us. The altitude was undeterminable. The diameter, impossible to estimate. No photograph, no radar track, no recovered object, no second name. The document is careful about its own weight, stamped across the top. This is an information report, not finally evaluated intelligence. Passed along to be assessed later, not certified as fact. A second, separate file fills in the setting. Not another sighting, but background on the range itself, from a later release. Useful for understanding the place, but silent on what the man saw. And place matters. Sary Shagan was not a random stretch of sky. It sat at the center of a Soviet missile testing complex. A controlled, watched militarized landscape on the Kazakh steppe. Fences, bunkers, radar masts, guarded roads. This was a world built to track whatever moved overhead, which makes it a strange place for something overhead to go unexplained. There are really 2 timelines here. One is a single evening in the late summer of 1973. The other is the long life of the paper itself. Reported, distributed that December, filed, and finally released to the public in 2026. Strip it down, and you are left with 2 columns. What is known, the color, the shape, the rings, the silence, the way it faded. What is not, how far, how big, how fast. Every claim here traces back to a real, released document, one anyone can now open, read, and weigh for themselves. The story is only as good as the page it rests on. Somewhere between a man's memory and a government archive, what he saw became something else. Typed up, routed, summarized, filed. The process preserved the strange part, and quietly stripped away the context we would most want. Pull the threads apart, and the shape is simple. A document, a source, a place, a claim, and a set of limits attached to all of it. Limits that do not vanish just because the image is vivid. So how strong is it? The release is genuine. The page is readable. The description is specific, and the location is real. But there is no corroborating witness in the file, no sensor data, no physical trace. What was it then? Several answers stay open. A green fireball, burning high in the atmosphere. An optical effect. A flaw of memory, or something, genuinely unidentified. The report does not give us enough to close any of those doors. It is easy to wave a case like this away, laugh at the color, and move on. But a specific account, tied to a real military site, recorded by an intelligence service, has earned more than a shrug. It is just as easy to overbelieve, to treat every missing detail as proof of something extraordinary. The file will not support that either. The truthful version is smaller, and sturdier, a strange sighting, with real limits. When the analysis falls away, what is left is the page. A few lines of official text, carrying one man's strange evening across half a century. Not enough to settle anything. Enough to keep asking. Look closely, and the record holds its ground. Brief, specific, unresolved. It does not grow into proof, and it does not shrink into nothing. In the end, the range gives back only silence. The sky offers no answer. What survives is the record, exactly as it was filed. It is a fitting place to begin, because it carries the pattern we will follow. A vivid sighting, a military setting, an official paper trail, and serious gaps. One report on its own proves little. The question is what happens when the reports begin to repeat, because this was not the only green light in the files. Next, we cross to the American Southwest, and the wave of green fireballs reported over the nation's nuclear weapon sites.